Welcome and hello and hello and welcome, welcome and hello, hello and welcome, welcome and hello, hello, welcome, welcome, hello, hello and welcome. No, guys, my voice is a little iffy today. I'm going to try to keep this one as short as possible, which is not a reference to my short, fat legs. Just a reference to this show, guys. Thank you for joining me. It is UnPocoMas, the show where we feebly endeavor to give you just a little bit more. Thanks for joining us. Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. I see that nobody's watching, so I don't know if this thing is working. But anyway, guys, like I said, I am actually going to make this one a quick one because I'm just really tired and I got a lot of work to do still. I'll probably be here working away until about 9 o'clock. My big fat head, just pounding my big fat head against the wall, slamming my head in a desk drawer repeatedly, stapling my finger to try to wake myself up. You guys know the drill. The old office space. You know, it's funny because, like, you think office, if you don't work in an office, you think office space is like a joke, but really just trying to pass the time until you have a massive heart attack. Anyway, on that cheery note, guys, welcome and hello and welcome. Of course, it is UnPocoMas. They do call me cornbread because I'm moist, doughy, and I crumble under pressure. They call me the tugboat because I'm short in stature. I pull more than my own weight, and I'm rarely far from my home port. They call me Stubby Cohiba due to an unfortunate manscaping accident I had just outside of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It did involve a vintage Vitamix blender, but suffice it to say, long story short, or short story short, if you know what I mean, no pun intended. Oh, that Oscar Mayer, that thing, it's not fun. But anyway, guys, that's why they call me Stubby Cohiba. Dude, I got to drop these bits, guys. Like I said, they're horrible, but people in the comments do say they like the bits. I don't know why. Anyway, so basically the Shartmaster is here. I got a clean pair of chonies on. That's bound to change. But as the Shartmaster is wont to do, I'm just going to take a look at things. I'm basically taking a look at the momentum because 8 million people know about the fundamentals of these companies. I mean, you guys know what's going on with NEO, with CATL. You got these big pre-orders for the Ongo L90. In terms of SoFi, I think the story has kind of shifted away from, oh, tech's not growing to, oh my God, the loan platform is growing so fast. It's ridiculous. And it's highly, technology dependent, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's an online platform that is fee-based revenue. I don't know how much more tech you can get. They just say it's not tech because Anthony Noto, wears a windbreaker and has a big bullum head. I seen them laughing and loving with their big bullum heads. Oh, I don't know if any of you guys are fans of Kids in the Hall. They had Bruce McDonald. That was hilarious. Anyway, welcome and hello and welcome. So as far as SoFi, I'll just start with SoFi. The first thing you notice is just how much green momentum there is, how convincingly the stock came off these two wedges and just never stopped. You see it swing down below the trend line, come back above, kind of a seahorse pattern, a Loch Ness monster pattern. But I think this is just checking up here, like I said, to go up to 24.75, not slightly higher. And I think it's going to get there, on jacked up earnings and guidance. I think Anthony Noto is going to come out swinging. I think he's going to be throwing bolo punches. I think he's going to be throwing uppercuts. I think he's going to be hitting people with kidney punches. He's a gentleman, so he's going to fight fair. But I see a lot of combinations from Noto. I see him very agile. I see him slipping punches from these female financial reporters who live on golf courses in pantsuits and just do nothing but track down CEOs, tranquilize them, and tie them into a director's chair, put a windbreaker on. Anthony, would you mind wearing this CNBC windbreaker? He's like, I only wear SoFi windbreakers, Maria. If you ask me again, I'm going to kill you. Okay, that's been CEO. No, but anyway, I don't think Noto kills people, but I bet he could. Fucking badass. Anyway, so SoFi, like I said, that's my opinion. It's going to 24.75. Why do I think it's not going to come down? If it's going to come down, it's going to come down. This is my opinion on how retracement works. I think a lot of people miss this with like Fibonacci and just making it way too complicated. If you start to study, charts, look at what's already happened. You can learn so much. It's very difficult to understand what's happening with stocks and charts in real time. You have to go back. This checked up here. The volume seemed to be running out. You saw this one red candle. Volume dies a little bit. You see just a tiny amount of consolidation. Then what happens? Stock just rips again and gaps up. People are worried about filling the gap to 19. I'm not worried about that at all, but I think if it's going to retrace and it's going to fall below this trend line, I mean, this trend line represents a base above 20 if it comes back, before earnings. But I think earnings are going to be spectacular in the guidance. I think SoFi is just right on the edge of becoming, a free cash flow machine. I think most of the pain is out of the way. This is when you want to buy a growth story. Before the EPS completely explodes, but after all the hard work, the foundational stuff, the pain, whatever, it's all in the rearview mirror, and the model is about to start firing on all cylinders. So, I don't know. That doesn't really have anything to do with the chart or anything else. There's nothing particularly logical about it, but SoFi, there's still, pretty significant short on the stock. I don't think it's going to break down at all. I think this should be trading at higher multiples based on the growth, based on the management, based on the execution, and based on the future-proof nature of the business model, based on the concept I talk about constantly called surface water, how vast the customer and revenue base is in these services they're offering, and how when they talk about, maximizing the lifetime value of a customer, Anthony Noto's just sending code to savvy investors, say, run a DCF model on this company and tell me what it's worth. But don't come in with these absolutely five-headed assumptions, these stubborn donkey wedge five-headed assumptions, these chia pet-like growth assumptions that are not green at all. Like you forgot. Sorry, guys. I said I have a bit of a sore throat. I don't know why I'm not feeling that well. Perhaps I'm old and fat and unhealthy. Pardon me. Yeah, not a lurker. We gave not a lurker the day off. What happened? Came in anyway. Oh, that's the kind of guy not a lurker is. He comes in on his day off. Fat guy ranting. Like dead man walking, fat man ranting. Anyway, so that's my brief take on SoFi. Let's go to some bad news. We'll go to CRSP. I don't think it's really bad news because if you look at this exact level, it came down and stopped that today, which is like, basically 52.50. This has been a, with all due deference to Van Halen, 51.50 and of course Cycle. But if you go back all the way out to April of 2024, this line was really strong support. You saw 4 hits on it, and then it just broke through and broke down when the stock really leveled down from the $52 area to the $47 area. They tend to work it in $5 increments. Then it levels down from, approximately 47, 48 down to 41, 42. But this is kind of the areas they work in. And then you see they level it down again to 37. So basically the algo is working in, $5 steps. But that all breaks down right here when you basically see a very quick move from 36 to 62. So 36 to 62, I mean, that is one hell of a move. And you're talking about that taking place from basically the 1st of June until, the 9th of July. So you're talking about, 6 weeks and the stock moving like what, 80%? So it's got to retrace to be healthy. No stock just goes up and up and up forever. Not even like Robinhood and Palantir. But if you look at the chart, I mean, just look going back, for the last year and even further, you just don't see any green volume coming into the stock like this. If you're looking for a retracement level where you might buy back in, I think 47 would be the very, very best you're going to do. The pipeline here is just fundamentally too valuable. This is the future of medicine. They wholly own, multiple very, very promising therapies in their in vivo pipeline, which are early and they will take many years to, come to fruition and realize any revenues, FDA approvals, all that sort of thing. But these major pharmaceutical companies that are also happen to be major shareholders, several of like four of them or more in CRISPR, which includes Vertex, which is their 60% partner on Casgevy. I mean, these guys see the writing on the wall and they think long term. They're used to going through the FDA approval process. They're used to cultivating a drug or a therapy for, 10, 15 years. And then they could realize revenues on that therapy for the decades to come. And these are going to be extremely, valuable therapies. It's like a one and done. So you're going to be talking about hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars per treatment, high development costs, but this is the revolution. And I don't know if you guys can see this. This pivot goes all the way back to here. You see it. See, do you see? You see it testing way back here. So, and support flips to resistance. And we have to see, is this breakout real? Does it flip back to support or does it break down probably somewhere to this level? Like I said, 47, which would, kind of come back down here. It could be 46. We just have to see. But volume is still really strong up here at the top. So right here, I mean, these are not low volume days for the stock. These are above average. Right at the top, you're seeing 5 million shares traded. And I guess it's very tempting to say, this is just a pump and dump and it's over. But I completely disagree with that. I think the stock is undervalued. Vertex agrees with me. Analysts agree with me. I think anybody with a brain between their ears can see that this pipeline, the results they're getting with LDL, with triglycerides, the 80% reductions, the very, very, favorable safety profile this company's had their entire existence. I mean, granted, they've had a few delays, but they're executing at, a very, very high level. So I have no problem with this retracement. I bought more CRISPR today, actually, a little bit of it a little too high. I didn't think it was honestly going to fall quite this far because, these shorts are really like, on top of things. It looks like they shorted an additional 52,000 shares today. I don't know. Cost to borrow remains 10%, utilization 100%. Shares on loan have come down a bit. Short interest, has spiked. So I don't know what you make of that. The data is borne out in the official reports. This was the end of June, but you saw a 19% change from previous, from 23% to 28% of the free float, 21 million shares short to 25 million shares short. And ever since then, besides the last few days, they've just been, shorting the living hell out of the stock. You see the aggregate short volume ratio yesterday was down to 46, today back up to 50. So that's shorting again. They're not returning shares. They're not taking shares off the short. They might be taking shares off loan, but that doesn't mean they're, reducing their actual shares sold short, which are two different figures. And yes, it's a fair statement that cost to borrow ticked down very, very slightly from yesterday. I mean, yesterday it was 10.5. Today, most of the day, it was saying 9.3. And there's more shares available. There's just going to be more shares available as the price comes down. People are going to sell. People are going to, they're going to hit stop loss. Obviously the idea. But these shorts never cover. They're just going to reshort. They're just going to push down. I think there's just no liquidity. There's no buyers in the stock. They're short, 26 million shares, and this stock only trades 1/10 of that in volume every day. So it's not hard to understand that there's no shares there to cover. There's no liquidity. They were definitely able to push down today, but I think a lot of that is profit taking. A lot of people were very, very happy to take profits off the top. I took a lot of profits from calls and, a lot of different ways I've taken profits off of this CRISPR run. So I'm very happy, but, when it came down, to 53 area, I was, quite happy to buy quite a bit more. So a lot of things are telling me this just isn't out of gas. It's not just readout. It's like I said, the most important thing to look at here is the actual ownership structure in the stock. And you have to realize Bayer, Vertex, Celgene, and GlaxoSmithKline are all major shareholders in CRISPR. And then insider ownership, if you don't count those, is like 25%. And then institutional ownership, you're talking about if you roll in all those pharma companies into the financial institutions, Fintel has that at 88% institutional ownership. So if they're borrowing, 37 million shares, which is like 40 some percent of all the shares that exist, and they're selling 26 million shares short, which is like 30% of all the shares that exist, and it only trades 2.5 million shares a day, and retail owns at the most, probably 10, 12 million shares at the very, very most. If there's some huge positive catalyst for whatever reason at any point, which there could be, whether it be readout or whether it be, I think more likely, a deal with a pharmaceutical company for one or more of their, wholly owned therapies, I think Vertex could invest more, quite frankly, because I think Vertex understands that CRISPR is their future. So I don't know. That's my little spiel on CRISPR. But yeah, it was a bit of a kick in the nuts today. But honestly, when a stock runs up, it's based, and it was just 30 in April, guys. So this thing doubled in a hot second. In a New York minute, guys. Everything can change. What haven't we talked about? We haven't talked about NEO. Let's take a look at NEO. I mean, NEO, this has been a move from what, 70 to 3? I mean, what goes from 70 to 3? Last time this thing had any volume coming in like this was, back here. And this little move on this little bit of volume was, $5.60. But I think it's going to look more like this. I think we have more to go. I think the bears are in a little bit of a state of shock. I think this L90 is kind of reverberating through China. I think there's sort of a synergy with the L90, the CATL, the government at all levels just pushing swap forward, talking about swap. The prominence of CATL has elevated sort of the gravitas of battery swap in general, just them talking about it like 10 times. I mean, nobody knows who the hell NEO is. People see the swap stations, but there's so few cars on the road. That's one of the big issues I've been talking about. I mean, this has basically just been a tester. This has been a proof of concept, and NEO's had to do it largely alone with the backing of millions of government entities in the Middle East and everything else. But I just believe this volume comes in. I think we're going at least to 550 in short order. I think there's just once you cleared all this mess up to about, $4.79. I don't think there's anything stopping you until you get, basically to the top of this little shoulder at 550. And I don't think there's any reason you couldn't make a run at $7. All these car companies are doing so much, flying cars, robo-taxi. There's so many, Baidu, and they just made a huge deal with Uber to deploy robo-taxis on different continents. That ship has almost sailed. I mean, I don't think these car companies that are still working on, large language models and, end-to-end autonomy, they're like, I don't really think that's the application for robotaxi. I don't think anybody wants to take a robotaxi from, Cleveland to wherever, Bangor, Maine, or, I think basically the thing, it's going to be like an airport loop. It's going to be take me from the airport to the hotel. And just the main thing is going to be make it very safe, very repetitive. I don't think it needs to be that smart initially. Yeah, the robots need to be smart, so they're going to make the cars smart because, Tesla's a robotics company. They're an AI company. They're not really a car company. Car is just a robot. I think Elon's a robot. A very, very emotional robot. Anyway. Good chips could really make a difference. Yeah, I love good chips. I like kettle chips. You know what? My favorite chip is the sea salt and vinegar kettle chips. Oh, those are good. Get all over your hands. Love me some malt vinegar. You wouldn't know it by looking at me, but I could put down some fish and chips. I know. Don't let the six-pack abs and chiseled jaw fool you. Guys, would it shock you to learn that I wear this beard because I'm ashamed of my weak jaw? I like to intersperse little personal anecdotes to add a colorful pizzazz to the show. Jazz hands. Once in a while, I'll throw in some jazz hands, you know? Ah, I can barely handle a mini water. I'm barely man enough to handle a mini water. God help me if they ever give me a full 16.8 ounce water. I'm just going to throw in the top and be like, I'm going home, man. That's too much water for me. Just going to back away. I'm just going to set it down here and just back away slowly. You got a mini water? I'm parched. Just a guy just can't handle anything beyond a mini water. Like a guy who's just terrified of driving a large vehicle, like a U-Haul van. Dude, it's like an 18-foot U-Haul van. Like, you drive a fucking like huge Suburban every day. It's probably longer than this van. Oh no, the mirrors. I'm gonna hit something. You're not gonna hit anything, you dumb, paranoid, cowardly lion fuck. Just put the thing in gear and put the pedal down. You Carolina hose hound. You one-eyed trouser snake. I don't know, guys. This show is just completely pointless. I think it's going Sir Isaac Newton. I think it's going to go to 89 in short order. I mean, the multiple is just too low. I mean, it's still just trading probably less than, this year's sales, because we're into their next fiscal year. I know they haven't reported earnings yet. And I think honestly, there could be a dip there on SMCI because I think there might be some negative schmutz in the earnings. We'll just have to see. But anyway, yeah, I think Neo looks incredibly strong, and this isn't really what you want to see, but there are no gaps here, guys. There really are no gaps here. This is actually very healthy price action. You see the high here is 370, and then the low here is 370, and then the high here is 405, and then the low here is 402. So as far as a ridiculous, face rip shooting star, this isn't really that big of a deal. I mean, you're really talking about a move from, 350 to like, what is it now? $4.25. It's not insane because Neo moves like this. Neo overreacts to everything and pretty much just goes down no matter what. I mean, if you kind of take a look at what they did to this turd, I mean, they basically worked Bill Lee over pretty good. I mean, you see this stock coming off of, nearly 70 in 2021 and, it was 40s, in the 40s, and then all the way up in the 20s here in 2022 and 2023, I guess touched about 15, 2024. I think the highest it touched is about 750. And it worked its way all the way down recently to like what, $3.40 or something. I think I was buying at $3.55 or something like that. Didn't buy that much. I already have way too much of this stock. I think my average it's not great. I think it's probably like 6. I'd have to add it up across a bunch of different stuff because I've owned this stock for a good long time. It's kind of, guys, I mean, another thing you could learn about is it's just absolutely critical is how do you build a position so you don't get caught, buying a ton of shares way too high. I mean, you have to, of course, just be able to read the tea leaves and know that, you're trying to catch a falling knife. I mean, you see the algo working diligently from January 2022 until this point. And it's basically respecting these lines. It could draw another trend line right here. It's just as accurate. Now, what you see in, April of 2024 on the chart is it just runs out of room to fall. It, somebody tells, the stock and the shorts like, hey, this probably isn't going to go below 0. You better slow your roll there, Chachi. Joni says, pump the brakes. Hey. I don't know. What do you want me to say, Richley? It's going to go way, way up. I'm telling you. I see Neo going back up to triple digits because I think people just completely misunderestimate and misunderstandimate. You know, I think Neo is going to be an absolute monster. And I think these battery swap, I think the government gets it. I think CATL gets it, how very, very important this standard is that they've set forth. They're setting up the same standards, you know, in Africa. I think CATL wants to emulate them. They want to buy their power business. They want to buy their power management business. They understand it would take, it's a Herculean, they could probably recreate what Neo's done, but it would take a long, long time and it would be extremely costly. And the Chinese government doesn't want that. The Chinese government wants one unified standard that they control throughout the entire world. And they want to control, you know, the battery standard, the power, battery storage, all that stuff. Sure, they've stolen all the secrets Tesla has. We pumped Elon full of drugs. Tell us your secrets. He's like, no. Okay, whatever. I don't know. I really like, you know, Elon is an extremely unique and brilliant guy, and I'm still a big Tesla shareholder. I actually have more SoFi than I do Tesla now, but I think Tesla's maybe top 5 still. But I think SoFi is my number 2 holding behind Microsoft, which has been my number 1 holding since 1996, since I started in this game, started in the rap game, you know. A lot of people don't believe that I am the fastest white rapper alive. They've seen my show, which is off strip in Vegas. Like, what are you, downtown? No, not downtown. Go to like State Line, just like keep going. What are you playing a room out in Pahrump? Are you playing Green Valley Ranch? Like, no, wouldn't book me. Oh man, my comedy's not for everyone, guys. As it turns out, it's not really for anyone. Crashed and burned. I think I'm out of mini water. I got a little bit left in this one. That's the beauty of having 2 mini waters. It'd be much easier just to get 1 regular water. If you're walking around with 2 mini waters, you feel like you're prepared for something. Like, oh, I'm going to kill this meeting. I have 2 mini waters. Oh, little Jenny has a recital. Let me grab a couple mini waters. You just seem like you're doing something. Like you have 1 water, you're just walking around with the water. You look like an asshole that needs a drink every 2 minutes. You walk around with 2 mini waters, you look like you're like preparing for something important. Oh man, she planned ahead. Yeah, 2 mini waters. Twice as nice. Mini waters are so stupid. Don't sub and like. Not a lurker's trying to trick you. He's using that bald, handsome voodoo he uses. Worked on his wife. Don't let him suck you in. By the way, we just want to say again, it's a little bit late, but happy birthday, happy anniversary of the great Not a Lurker. And the rest of you too. Happy birthday to the rest of you. I know women like now, it's like, it's not the birthday month. It's like the birthday season. Just celebrating your birthday all summer, right into the fall. Just do a post-birthday fall celebration for 3 months. And then it's your half birthday. Can't afford all this jewelry. You know. Anyway, yeah, no, it's great. Just make it up as you go. You're like, oh no, I need the day off. Next month's my birthday month. Boss is like, what? He's like, I worked through the birth of my children. You're like, I don't care. I got a pink tiara. I'm out. I'll be gone till November, like Wycliffe Jean. Like, every time I make a rhyme, girl, you turn around and cry. I'm reading some comments while I serenade you. I ask myself, why, oh, why? See, you must understand, I can't work a 9 to 5. So, yeah. Guys, Wyclef Jean, the Carnival. I mean, man, as the kids say, fire. Dude, that is just the bonus tracks where they're rapping in French. I mean, it's just next level stuff. Anyway, and there's a lot of like became very political with like Lauryn Hill and Fugees and all that stuff, but man, very talented people. Anyway, I don't like necessarily mixing politics with everything. Everybody just ends up yelling at each other instead of, enjoying the music. So I don't know. If you don't enjoy good music, I just have no use for you. You must be my accountant. Doctors love music. Doctors love good music. I worked with a lot of doctors and they just love music. And a lot of doctors listen to music while they're working, I think more than most people. I don't know. Just an observation, probably, completely wrong. I just noticed, like, whenever I see doctors, people in med, they're all pretty much it's just to drown out all the sounds, like, the beeping and the yelling and the crying and whining, just big Karen. Oh, was that the shot? No, that wasn't the shot. You just drank some orange juice. It's not that kind of shot, fatso. Hate it when my doctor calls me fatso. Oh, fat boy on the diet. Don't try it. Gonna fuck you up like a looter in a riot. Oh yeah, no, SMCI is gonna go back up to all-time highs. I mean, what happened, guys, and that's a good segue. You guys mind if I go pee? I swear to God, I drank so much iced tea or green tea today. I'm just dying here, guys. I'm getting old, man. I got the bladder of like a 90-year-old person. Give me like 2 minutes, guys. I'm going to go really fast. But again, I do wash my hands with soap. So if you can't wait 1 minute, I invite you to go watch the great Stock Mo. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Probably peed like 10 mini waters. But anyway, you don't want to hear about that. Why does my show always devolve into bathroom humor? It's not even really humor. It's not humor at all. Just an old fat guy not wanting to pee his pants. Anyway, so yeah, most of you left. There's good sense. Not a lurker's still here. I don't know why. He's got much better things to do. Yeah, I'm out of mini water. I probably should have got another one, but forgot because I had to pee so bad. Anyway, guys, I think I was going to talk about SMCI. It looks like volume is dying down, but you have to remember this stock has been price fixed basically to no end. Oh, sorry, I was trying to take a look at the chart. And this level here, once they've broken through this level here, this 49 level, and this was very, very convincing. And also just critical to note, this is a lot of wedges coming together. If you look at what happened here, I don't even really call this a gap because if you go back just to 710, I mean, the high here is 5170. Okay. And then the low here is 5153. So this is nothing major. I know a lot of people are kind of obsessed with this, but if you look, they sent one up the flagpole here. They went 6 to midnight on us right here. And so I think, the gap has basically been filled, at least vicariously. I don't think that's really any type of correct term to analyze the price action in terms of what's going on here. But if you kind of simplify, I mean, I just don't know how much more bullish you could get. And there's still an absolutely huge short on this stock. Let's take a look at what happened today. I don't know, guys. I've been working all day. I have absolutely no idea what the shorts did. So NASDAQ. And the critical thing, if you guys hadn't heard the news, is basically the Trump administration eased the restrictions. I think it's the H20 chip. What happened, if you guys remember, like they put these export restrictions on the newest NVIDIA chips because they didn't want that AI technology, that supercomputing technology being used for China to basically kick our heads in the AI race. And, you know, AI is critical to warfighting and drones and robots and missiles and everything else. I mean, pretty soon war is just going to be AI fighting AI. It's going to be who has the best AI and whose drone swarm wins or whatever. We're all just going to be dead anyway. So, but anyway, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But let's take a look at the shorts. Obviously, the stock was up, not only broke through 50 convincingly, but actually holding above 53. It looks like they shorted an additional 35,000 shares, bringing the total to 96 million or 18.56% of the free float. They borrowed an additional 119,000 shares so far, and it actually looked like they were returning a lot of shares yesterday, contrairement for they actually were end up borrowing 158,000. The thing about this is cost to borrow is still, you know, very close to zero. Until you see that change, the shorts have a lot of flexibility because there's a lot of shares. So this isn't like a CRISPR where there's extremely low liquidity and high cost to borrow, even though there is a high short position that right now is a cheap short position. Short and cheap, guys. No way to go through life. But anyway, so what do you guys see on the chart? I basically see, if you draw a rectangle around all this nonsense, it's cleared all of this. And so I'm looking at where is the next, you know, where are the next resistance points going to come in? So it's cleared all this. So, I mean, you could argue the next resistance point would be probably right here at 62. And I think that's a very convincing argument. There's a gap here. It comes down. It's resistance, you know, falls to here, resistance again as it consolidates, resistance here through consolidation. And it even consolidates just a little bit up here, just for 3 days, but it's definitely making a market. And you can see heavy, heavy buying, this giant green candle, you know, coming in. I know this is multiple days, guys, but just, you know, kind of consolidating it for brevity. Brevity is the soul of wit, as Billy Shakespeare said. You know what they say, guys? They call me Danny Shakes. And if you have to ask why, you should get a refund. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I like really stupid stuff. I like doing stupid stuff. I like thinking of stupid stuff. I like saying stupid stuff. But you can see how they walked this thing up, guys. I mean, it's basically was at a $32 level. Then it was at a $43 level, which, you know, was kind of resistance back here through all through March. And then, you know, resistance kind of here was around the $44 area. And then through this little area, resistance was really kind of stubborn there for a bit at 50. But if you break down 50, I don't see any resistance till 62. And I don't see any resistance much until 76. I think you could, the way this stock trades, the way this thing is wound up, the way this thing is shorted, if you see cost to borrow go up, liquidity start to go down, institutions really start to pile on, because Supermicro had these, I think it's called H20 chips, and NVIDIA designed these chips to, you know, comply with export restrictions. So they basically designed a special chip they could sell into China. And then what happened, the Trump administration said no more, or it might have been the end of the Biden administration, I'm not sure. But they basically, the government said, you cannot export these things to China, which was the whole point. Because nobody's going to want to buy that throttled down chip outside of China when they can buy, you know, the real deal first class chip. It's like if America's going to sell you an F-35, you're not going to want to buy an F-16. But if you can't get an F-35, you'll take an F-16 because it's still functional and it's still better than anything else you can get on the market. So NVIDIA was basically selling them a second-tier chip. Now the government has come back in and said you can start selling that chip back into China. That's why NVIDIA popped. That's why SMCI popped so much, because they have a lot of that inventory on their books and they've had to take write-downs. So if they're able to write that up on their books and sell all that hot garbage through to China, that is an absolute game changer for Uncle Chucky and Aunt Sarah. Plus, Aunt Sarah won $2,500 on an Exacta last Sunday, Churchill Downs. Spent it all on half a bottle of wine. Oh, the life of the rich and famous, I tell you. Chopping down endangered trees, drinking expensive wine, crapping all over the commoners. Why not? Why not? Anyway. Oh, somebody's a welcome and hello, and welcome to the great Princess J. Princess J, if you guys don't know, is like the best person. Compared to her, you guys are weak sauce turds, I'll tell you. Sir Isaac Newton, it's very difficult to say because so much is changing so rapidly. Like, I don't know if they're going to hit 40 billion, but I think it's very likely to be mid 30s plus. I mean, 36, 37, I could see. Just depend. I mean, if they're able to sell all these chips that they have through to China and that market heats up, I mean, I don't think China was really in their guidance in a meaningful way. And now, boom, slaps you in the face like a big dry salami. So I see a ton of upside here. I see this moving through 60, coming up to 76, and maybe settling down at 89, maybe not. But I definitely agree with those of you who think this stock's going to go to all-time highs because the growth has been nothing short of astonishing. I mean, they were just selling 3 billion or so not long ago. This year, 23 billion. People are like so disappointed they only grew the top line at 50%. And despite what people say, institutional investors have a lot of confidence. They keep giving them money on really good terms. I know there's that poison pill in that first deal, and they have to pay some, balloon payment at the end. But, you got to suck it up sometimes. They needed the money. They had the accounting scandal. They're in hyper growth. They're putting new factories into Europe because they're just, overwhelming demand in Europe for AI infrastructure, data center infrastructure. And, the Oracle and others keep saying, Dell's going to eat their lunch. Dell has, all this, HP has all this liquid cooling experience. So HPE is going to eat their lunch. The facts are this. I mean, the facts are these. SMCI builds data centers cheaper, faster, with more density and superior cooling than any of their competitors. Full stop. And, that's what I'm reading from people who actually know what they're talking about. And that does not include Jim Cramer. I don't think Jim Cramer is, and any of these guys, frankly, these financial guys, are really down in the trend. When you listen to Uncle Chucky talk about these technologies, he knows this stuff like the back of his hand. That's an understatement. He sees the future. He sees the growth. He's like enamored with this industry. This is his love, this company. And, I like Palantir or Hood would kill for the kind of growth SMCI's enjoyed. It's just absolutely staggering growth. I mean, if you look at their, annual revenues, just in 2021, they were doing 3 billion, 5 billion, 7 billion. 2023 to 2024, they more than doubled revenue to 15 billion. And then, they're going to be looking at probably 23 billion this year. And the last guidance we heard was, something approaching 40 billion the following year. Now, I don't think they've firmed up that guidance based on, all these moving parts, the tariffs, sanctions, all these different things is very unpredictable. The Trump administration, these guys are deal makers, going to be a deal maker. You can't be predictable. keep everybody off balance. You want to wrong foot them. Anyway, so that's pretty much what I had in terms of this stuff. We got the great Enar Bukadida. People discounting recurring revenue for SMCI. Good point. The SMCI people are like, oh, it's just a commodity. It's just a box. No idea what you're talking about. They're selling service. They're selling software. They're selling, their liquid cooling setup. People are like, oh, liquid cooling is just going to become a commodity. You have to throw it in for free. Not if the overall cost is less, you dumb fuck. It's not in for free. It's part of the overall equation. If the data center is more dense and requires less power and is more efficient, that reduces your overall cost, and that has value. Oh, you got to give us the Kool-Aid for free. HP is doing it. Yeah, well, suck an egg. Uncle Chucky don't play that. You're going to pay for your liquid cooling. I'm going to kick you square in both nuts with a steel-toe boot. See how that grabs you. Go take money I promised to save endangered trees and just buy good wine. Get blitzed. Get schnookered. Chase Aunt Sarah around the house. You know what I'm saying? I think you do. Not my mom's what? Never do business with clickers, guys. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? No, I don't. Hey, this is my brother-in-law, Yoil. He's good on the pooter. He's going to get us all on Facebook. Sign over your house to him, Grandma. So I'm going to give my house to this Yoil, and he's going to get me on the Facebook. Ooh-wee. I love it. So we like con artists. I mean, like you're like this smartest guy at the video store. Like, no, just reboot. No, it's Control Alt Delete. Thanks, Winston. No problem, dude. Sweet soul patch. What are you doing this weekend, bro? Frisbee golf. I love to be the cool guy working at a video store. There are no video stores anymore. What happened to all those cool dudes? Like recommend all the movies. Oh yeah, this is Weekend at Bernie's 3. It's totally different. How is it different? Well, it's actually completely the same. All right. Yeah, I'll take it. I loved the first two. Have them both on Laserdisc. Anyway, so yeah, there was no point to this whole video. No idea what I'm talking about. CRISPR, like just to summarize, CRISPR, watch and see if it holds, 50 would be nice. I think it might bounce tomorrow, but holding 50 would be nice. Holding, 47 is necessary. My technique is very necessary. As they said, it gets funky. You got a subject and a predicate. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? What's going to happen? I have no idea. As far as SMCI, I think this goes up from here. I think, I honestly think we could see high 50s this week. There's just a tremendous amount of buying pressure. These new China rules are, like I said, it's a game changer in terms of, I think their revenues going forward, at least for the next year or two. And I think it's going to allow them to get a lot of dog shit off their books and turn that dog shit into solid gold. In terms of NEO, I think NEO is going up through $5, and then we can talk. I think this price action on NEO has been absolutely ridiculous. And if you look at the short on NEO, the short on NEO is also expensive. I mean, the short on NEO is quite expensive. It's not only expensive, it's extensive. Okay, the ESA, it's going to get the same battery pack as the ET9. And so you're going to get more range for the same money. So that's going to be a good selling point. But they're going to sell this Envo L90. That's just a beautiful car, extremely functional, 5 or 7 seats. Incredible value because of the battery as a service. Even without the battery as a service, incredible value. Beats the pants off Lee, in my opinion. I think it's a much better looking vehicle than the Lee as well. think it's one of the best looking SUVs, and there's millions of them in China, but they all look kind of weird to me. This one, just I don't see anything like that. First Envo looked like, like I said, it looked like a mix between a Pontiac Aztec and a pile of shit. Not a fan. Maybe a snail. I am a fan of Breaking Bad, but I don't necessarily love the Pontiac Aztec, other than in the context of Walter White, Jesse Pinkman, Gustavo Fring. Ding, 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 ding. It's tough when you have to enlist your archenemy, the help of Hector Salamanca. Take out your archenemy. Sometimes revenge is a dish best served cold, as Gustavo himself could tell you, as he went down to Mexico or wherever to take revenge on the dude who was like the sidekick in was it Scarface? Not Scarface. What was that? So that's Al Pacino movie where he has the horrible Cuban accent with all the bronzer. Yeah, Scarface. Manolo? Was it Manolo? I'm not going to shoot you, Frank. He's like, Manolo, shoot this bird. It's that dude who played like the mafia boss Gustavo took out. Many years later. Still look good. Very handsome Latino. I'm able to say that. I'm not gay, but I'm very gay friendly. Yeah. She's out of there. She's out of there, premium the option. I don't even know how to use Discord. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Enar. They do it all. It's a full solution. You don't need all these other vendors. You don't need all these other Delta Bravos. You call Uncle Chucky, he shows up. He shows up in his Pontiac Aztec and he sets that shit up. Thanks, man. Thanks, Mark. I had that generated by AI. I just said, give me a... It was funny because it looks like me. It wasn't supposed to be me at all. But maybe my AI on my computer knows what I look like. So they're like, when I say a fat guy with a beard and glasses and curly hair, I thought it would like resemble me, but it looks a little bit too much like me. Thanks, man. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. You look like a guy who might be into like conservation. Like when you camp somewhere, you don't leave a lot of garbage around. You look like a guy that if you go to a museum, you could like explain things to people. Hey, you know how these covered wagons work? Like ask Mark. Like a guy that if he was like your group leader, some type of a period piece, some type of reenactment, something along those lines, he'd be in good hands. Looks like the type of guy that eats muesli cereal. A bunch of nuts and stuff in there. It's good for you, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if all those little seeds are really good for you. Maybe they got a lot of saturated fat. I don't know. That's the kind of question you should ask Mark Richard. Not a dumb fat guy like me. You got to get a guy who's like squared away. He's got a proper sun hat. Guy who has 3 or 4 SPFs of sunscreen. You know, TCB, taking care of business. Yeah, I'll definitely be with you, but gotta take care of this tour group first. Oh, no problem, Mark. Good to see you. Oh, and the guy who sorry, Mark. I don't even know you. I just look at people's pictures and just make up a bunch of nonsense because I'm a lunatic. That's cool, man. Yeah, I thought so. Sometimes you can kind of tell by like people's pictures and just how they look. I mean, it's obviously you don't want to judge a book by their cover, but let's be honest, all of us are completely judgmental pricks. We look at other people and we make up a little story about them in our head. Probably most of the time we're 180 degrees wrong, but you know, once in a while you're right. Anyway, good bullet picture. Oh man. Yeah, it's a good one, man. Looks very official. What is that? The Lincoln Memorial? Can't see. Anyway, these I got I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I just got new glasses because someone the beautiful Princess Jay doesn't want me getting old. But time she marches on, she stops for no man. Anyway, guys, so we'd like to thank the great Mark Richard for being such a good sport. We'd like to thank the great Nautilurker for interrupting his travels to come on and moderate you animals. God knows you need it. You people left to your own devices will just run amok. We're running amok. We're out in the streets. We're killing people. Fisticuffs. Turn my headphones up. Turn that shit up, man. No, I can't hear. I'm deaf in this ear. Turn that up. David, what's my number one pick right now? You just for momentum. I mean, SoFi, I love long term. If SoFi comes back to 17, buy with everything you got. I mean, this isn't financial advice. This is, I'm speaking, for myself. I'm speaking extemporaneously, of course. But no, like I love SoFi long term. For a momentum play right now, just a pure AI play, I do love SMCI because I think the multiples on it are just way, way, way too low vis-a-vis other competitors, like not competitors, but other companies like NVIDIA. I mean, you're going to get the growth or more from NVIDIA, but you're going to get paid because SMCI, you're starting so much, you're already paying for NVIDIA. Everybody knows about NVIDIA. SMCI has a dark cloud over it. All of this bad press, all of this shorting, all of this Hindenburg stuff, all of the violations, it presented an opportunity. You could have bought this stock at 18.19, and when it screams up through 100, you'll be saying, Yahtzee! That fat guy was right, Martha. No, he wasn't. She's like, broken clock's right twice a day. Sun shines on a dog's ass once in a while. She's like, don't talk about daddy deals like that. I've heard like spouses getting into arguments over how annoying this show is. Just driving your wife crazy watching this turd. Anyway, I got to go, guys. This has been the honor of my life entertaining you. Who else has been here? The great Billy Jack, of course. We'd always like to thank the great Billy Jack. One of the best in the business. Let's see. Mr. Premium of the Option, the great Mr. Premium of the Option. We appreciate you stopping by, gracing us with your presence. We know he's a big player. Big player. Like Les Grossman over here. We'd like to thank the great Enar for actually providing some actual technical knowledge, which, of course, I lack. I thought SMCI was a candy bar when I first bought the stock. I was like, oh, yeah, dip down to 18. Yeah, fucking nougat. Chocolate, nougat, yeah, I love it. Caramel, whatever. No, it's AI. I'm like, even better. Bye. Enar's over here doing real analysis of the technology. What is this fat guy talking about? I don't know, Enar. Blood sugar's crashing. He's incoherent. What is nougat? I know what caramel is. I know what fudge is. I know what chocolate is. I know what nuts are. I know what coconut is. I have no idea what nougat is. Sounds like some kind of dog turd. Hey, cute. So you leave that nougat over here? She's like, wasn't me. Well, I know me or her didn't poop on the floor. Well, okay, it was me. All right, just admit it. Now we can talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I want a treat. Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, guys, this show has been a complete steaming turd in its own right. I want to thank the great Nautilurk. We'd like to thank the great Princess J. We'd like to thank great Alberto Berti Avila. It's like the great Enar. We'd like to thank great Strising Newton for hitting us all in the head with that apple, keeping us grounded. We'd like to thank great, of course, Clap My Dog, great Brian Club, Brian with Y. Oh, this company was a $5 billion. Charles predicted 20 billion and a half. Just trust. I completely agree with you. Charles is absolutely on top of his game. The guy is an absolutely freaky genius. He doesn't have cool leather coats like Jensen, but he's a personal friend. He does have those blue blazers with the elbow patch. So, second best. Sometimes it's the first loser. Sometimes, you got to take what you can get. Who else is here? I don't know. I want to thank everybody. B-Dub Star. I want to thank B-Dub Star for joining us. Would like to thank Little Mike for joining us. Be careful sitting down too quick. Yeah. Well, Little Mike, that's actually hits a little bit close to home because sometimes when I sit down like a tight seat, like at a theater, my thighs will crush my nuts right between my fat thighs, and it's none too pleasant, I tell you. It's like one of those sheeters that like makes a big ball of dough into a pizza. It's like, imagine that, like you feed the ball in, then it crushes through those two rollers. That's like my testicles hanging too low. Then you sit down, you got to smash them through the roller. Oh, awful. Call that the old pizza maker. Call that the old Freschetta. Call that the old DiGiorno. You guys remember when a long time ago you'd buy those crusts in the pizza in the supermarket, Boboli? And then like if your mom was, she'd like put some pizza sauce on it or something. You try to pass that off as like your pizza night. Oh yeah, we're eating pizza tonight. Like awesome. Oh, it's Boboli. I'm putting broccoli and some onion on it. You guys like turmeric? No, we like pepperoni. We like actual pizza. Not a Boboli loaded down with veg. No cheese, just tossed into a tepid oven. Rather be beat up by a baseball bat. I have no idea what I'm talking about, guys. I got to get out of here. It's been an hour of this absolute gibberish. Thanks, guys. Not a worker. No, it's not a lurker. Guy's a great worker. Bald, beautiful man. Let's see. Anybody else say anything? Palo Alto. Yeah. Maybe getting worse way cheaper. I agree with you, Billy Jack. Next Gen Combat Sports TV. No, nougat is like chocolate whipped jar. Oh, okay. So it's like spun chocolate, kind of aerified. Yeah. So that's like the stuff in the Snickers that like the nuts are wrapped in. That's like below the caramel, and then they're sandwiched in layers by chocolate. I think Next Gen Combat Sports TV comes in with something actually useful. All these stock picks are just hit and miss. You'd be better off flipping a coin, but the man knows what nougat is, which in this case was useful. So anyway, we would like to thank you, sir. Appreciate you joining us. Haven't seen Next Gen Combat Sports TV before. My brother's a huge MMA fan. He's a gym and all. Gym and everything. Anyway, he's not only a fan, he actually did it. Oh, man, I would get my ass kicked. I'm too fat. I'd be like one of those sumo guys who comes in, there's some little guy just jumping around, just peppering him with blows. Like, I'm barely spinning around. He just got me in a, rear naked choke. And I'm just like waking up in the hospital. Do I get ice cream now? No, you don't get ice cream. Well, this was all for nothing. Anyway, guys, I would like to thank the entire MMA community for joining us. I would like to say foot stomps a la Carlo Hujos. I would like to say Oma Plata and many other words. I don't know what they mean. I would like to thank, nougat. I don't know how to spell it. Yeah, it's just like, it's that like soft stuff that's like kind of chocolatey. It's kind of white. It's kind of like, like you said, like marshmallowy. It's kind of taffy. It's an amalgam. It's a riddle wrapped up in a mystery, wrapped up in delicious milk chocolate. Guys, thanks for joining me. It's been the honor of my life entertaining you. I'm going to go to sleep now. I hate you guys.